The view from the promenade in Clontarf now looks certain to change. Dublin City Council today confirmed it's to press ahead with the construction of controversial flood defences. The wall and grass mound will stretch for 3 kilometres from the Alfieburn Road to the wooden bridge and will in places reach a height of about 9 foot.
This is going to be built if we don't stand up and let the councillors know and the politicians know exactly. We want to keep our promenade. We want flood defences, but we'll have to go back to the drawing board and come up with a very clever solution where we don't lose our promenade, but yet we can stay dry. Thank you very much.
If it were to go ahead, it would be an irretrievable eyesore and a blight on the area for generations and a daily reminder of Dublin City Council's planning folly.
So that was their public consultation process. Put the ads in the paper and we'll send in the application the next day to onboard Planola.
What was proposed for our promenade was barbaric.
We do not want a 9-foot wall in Clontarf. We do want flood protection, but we don't want a 9-foot one.
My 7 years on the council, I have never seen an issue like this. I've never seen an issue like this that has been dealt with this way, or that the consultation has been handled this way.
There's nowhere like it in the world. It makes no aesthetic sense, it makes no cultural sense, it makes no economic sense to do what is being proposed. When I saw the leaflet that came in my door, I thought it was a joke. I really couldn't believe that something like this was being planned. This isn't an issue for the parish. I'm not even sure what parish it is. It's not an issue just for the people of North East Dublin. It's not an issue simply for the North Side or simply Dublin. This is a national issue.
Thousands of people gathered in Clontarf in County Dublin today to stage a protest over controversial plans to build a flood defence on the seafront. Dublin City Council says a report on how to protect the area from coastal flooding will go before next month's council meeting.
The Battle of Clontarf. This is the view of Dublin Bay that residents are fighting to protect, and they came in their thousands to the wooden bridge to save it. Work is due to begin next year on a proposed 9-foot embankment extending 3 kilometres along the Clontarf Road. The flood defence structure would destroy the promenade and bay view, according to residents, who want Dublin City Council to think again. Residents believe the tide will turn on this decision if there's the political will. In response to this afternoon's protest, Dublin City Council says it is currently preparing a report on how to protect over 3,000 properties in the area from coastal flooding, and that report will go before next month's council meeting.
And then the waves, and there are some pretty explosive waves out there, are varying between about 0.5 metre and 0.9 of a metre.
Mano, can I just ask you, your mother's name, your late mother's name, was mentioned in a recent article in the Irish Independent in relation to the flood defences that have been proposed by Dublin City Council. What was your reaction when you read that?
Well, Ken, obviously, when we saw it, I suppose the reaction would be, frankly, one of sadness that her name could end up being evoked and used in a decision that would mean the destruction of an amenity which we have here, which was very dear to her, my late father, and all our family. I think that would be very, very sad, and particularly because, you know, she this would be the place that she would have probably brought her grandchildren, my children, my brother's children, for their first walks. They would have used it regularly, and we'd be sad if that was the case, and obviously I hope it isn't. I think it'd be it'd be an injustice if some reason people felt, well, you know, what was said or meant that she would support this, because I know in my heart of hearts she wouldn't support what's been proposed here at all. It's wrong. It's a sledgehammer to crack a nut, frankly.
Like a lot of people, we all support the idea of a proper flood defence system.
Sure.
And you mentioned before, yes, we all need a flood defence system, but it must be in keeping with the amenity here. You'd go along with that?
Well, completely. You know, as any of us would say, if you board up your house with concrete, you're not going to have any burglars, but it's not a great way to live your life. And this seems to be out of touch and out of style with the protection of amenities like this one for Dublin, which is, I think, one of the great amenities. I know lots of people that I work with. I know lots of people that I played sport with, and many times we would be down here. They would always welcome the opportunity to come down and walk down to Dollymount, run down to Dollymount in the days that we could run. And I just think it seems to be completely inappropriate. In all my years here, and I've lived here since 1957, and I've probably seen all of the floods, and I've never ever seen anything that would require a 9-foot barrier to stop it. It's simply high tides, lapping over, and sure, it's not a great thing. Everyone wants to be protected against that. Well, my first reaction was frankly one of shock. I was amazed that clearly public money had been spent. There are well tuned and agreed and accepted processes, both nationally and at the European level, I understand, to ensure that locals are consulted in matters of this nature. And it transpires that if there was consultation, that it was certainly perfunctory at best. I understand when I delved into it after first hearing about it that there was hardly any real consultation. And I think the people involved acknowledge that now. I was frankly, Ken, stunned. Firstly, we would all communicate, we would all read the papers, we would all listen to the news, and I wouldn't ignore any communication that would come into me on any matter, because that's what you have to do. I certainly saw nothing. I'm pretty sure the vast majority of people that I know saw nothing. It came as a huge shock, and it's not the way to spend public money, and it's not the way to try and address an issue that is impacting on a Dublin amenity of this nature. It's just crazy. You need to consult with the people that know, you need to consult with the people that matter, and you need to consult with the people that are using this amenity. There are many ways that this could have been addressed and should have been addressed. And I'm sure the people that are involved probably look into their own heart now, and I think they'd say, yeah, we didn't get that one right at all.
What do you say to the corporation's assertion that it's now or never for this project, and it has to go ahead? There's very little room for manoeuvre. They've said they can reduce the heights of the bunds slightly, but that really and truly we're not going to see much reduction in the entire scale of the project.
Well, firstly, to the it's now or never position that apparently is adopted, that's a foolishness. That's silly. There are structures in place, there's funding arrangements in place. I understand, we've seen them this week, that ring fence flood protection, investment flood protection for this country. So I don't accept it's now or never. It's interesting that it's suddenly become now or never when these plans are being questioned, and frankly at the last minute when people were made aware of them. So I think that's a foolishness, and I can understand why someone is probably trying to say it, but it's the motivations probably they need to be looked at. It's not something that I would accept at all. The other aspect to all of this is there clearly are many, or at least a number of other options, and those options need to be looked at now. This is a decision that's going to affect a Dublin amenity for 100 years. So, something, I'm pretty sure I would, and I live in the front here, just up the road here, I would certainly be happy to wait and do this properly. And I've no doubt I'd be stunned if other people wouldn't. This is something that's going to affect this amenity for 100 years, so I think we can all wait a little longer.
Great. Lovely.